All right, guys, we're at the apex. Man, it's been a long day. I've been grinding, but obviously we got to hit the big news. Jon Jones, Stipe Miocic is official. It's official. They will fight at Madison Square Garden later in the year for the heavyweight championship of the world. You know, right after Jon fought in March, we kind of expected this to be the match. We thought that we would get it this weekend at International Fight Week, but now it's going to be pushed all the way back to November, which in reality is not that bad because it gives the UFC more time to try and build the fight. Even though I don't think it needs to be built all that much. You got the greatest light heavyweight champion of all time and potentially the greatest fighter of all time taking on the greatest heavyweight champion of all time. Here's my thing when I look at these two guys, and I've spoken about this a little bit in a video I did earlier, saying that I thought it was a problem on Stipe's side. I thought that that's why there was a holdup. What's happening now? So all issues must have been resolved. I think for Miocic, it's about trying to make it happen as soon as possible because he is getting older. And while the age isn't as bad heavyweight, it's still going to be tough to fight Jon Jones. But when I watched Jones in that fight against Cyril, he didn't look as good as he usually does. He wasn't as fast. You know, I said that a little bit. But in this matchup, he's going to have to be. You know, I thought that the time to beat Jon Jones at heavyweight was in his first fight because it was so unfamiliar and unknown to him. But now that he's been there, he's won, and now he has the championship, he's going to be increasingly hard to beat because now he believes. He knows the power of the heavyweights and probably felt it and went, this ain't much different than what I was dealing with at light heavyweight because of the way the fight with Cyril Gane played out. But this matchup is going to be much more difficult for the simple fact that Miocic is also a winner. He's a guy that will never give up on himself. And he's a guy that does possess a wrestling background. But can Miocic close the distance on Jon Jones? Can he get within the range that he needs to get within to try and impose himself on Jones? Now, when I was talking to Stipe last time, we did an interview. I asked him about his size. He had gotten really small during our series. He said he's going to get bigger. He said he's made a conscious effort to try to put some weight on. I believe that's important, but I don't think that he needs to be as heavy as he thought he was going to need to be in order to rematch Francis Ngannou. Against Francis, you got to be in the 255 range because he was so big. Against Jones, while he is heavier, I don't think Miocic needs to be as heavy. I think Miocic needs to be in shape. He needs to be fast, and he needs to be present if he wants to capture the heavyweight championship of the world back. This fight will be determined very early, at least in my opinion. Because we will know from the very start of the fight whether or not we are seeing the Stipe Miocic from before or if we're seeing a slowed down version of the former champion. We'll know that very quick. Because what we already know is that we do get a little bit of a slower version of Jon Jones. He is a little bit different than he was when he was a light heavyweight. No one could watch that fight against Cyril and think anything different because the left hand that he threw that ultimately led to the takedown was a lot slower. He even admits it. It was like gained 30 pounds. Of course I'm going to be slower. But if Miocic is fast, if Miocic with his boxing background, Golden Gloves, is still fast, that could give Jones problems. Because the one thing I learned in the fights with Jones and I was that he's very good with his timing. He's very good at finding the spots, but nothing's overly fast or overly quick. His punches, his kicks are fast. His shots aren't as fast, but he's got great timing and a great ability to really pick and find those moments that he can land. But Miocic is fast. You'll be fighting Stipe, and he'll throw something, And he'll land, and you're like, well, how did he get to me? He is fast. And if he's still fast, he can get the job done. But if he slowed down, he's almost 41 years old, I think. If he slowed down, even a little bit, it could be a problem. And he might be 41 right now. Can't slow down. He's got to be on his game. He's got to be fast if he wants to get this done. Now, I heard some stories that Miocic wasn't training at strong style anymore. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I got a guy in Columbus that was telling me he was changing things up. There were some issues between him and his coaches. I hate to hear it because those guys got him to the promised land. I hope that whatever those issues were, whether they're minor or big, most times it's financial, if I'm being completely honest. That's where the separation comes between athlete and coach. I hope those things can be worked through because there's a lot of history on the line for Miocic. He can become a heavyweight champ for the third time. Nobody does that. Nobody's won that belt 3 times. Miocic could be the first guy to do that. To defend it 3 times and win it 3 times if he can get past Jones. Many people are going to want to count Miocic out going into this fight, but that's not necessarily the case. This guy's the real deal, and he's there to win against Jon Jones in Madison Square Garden, which will essentially be a home game for Jones. Guys, today's video is brought to you by the Game Time app. The Game Time app is the worldwide leader in last-minute ticket purchases. Whether you're going to a concert, basketball game, UFC, football, it doesn't matter. The Game Time app's got you. You go last minute, right before a game starts, hit the Game Time app and you'll save money. Highly reduced prices when you buy tickets off the Game Time app. If that's not enough, use the promo code DCTV for $20 off of your first purchase. The Game Time app allows you to do whatever you want. Whether it's out to dinner and catch a comedy show, maybe catch a concert. Do it and save money using the Game Time app. DCTV for $20 off of your first purchase. Guys, on the Jones side, he's got to just beat Jon Jones. He's good. He's talented. If you ask me in their prime who would win this fight after fighting them both, I would probably say Jones, especially if he's fighting at light heavyweight. The one thing that confuses me about Jones at heavyweight, and I wonder if that'll change, is why did he feel he had to gain a whole bunch of weight? He didn't need to get bigger. I don't know if Jon Jones competes any better at 250 or if he weighed in at 230 pounds or 227. I think even at 227, he would be okay at heavyweight because then he would still maintain the speed that he had, which I believe would give a lot of the heavyweight problems. That's why I gave him problems. You were fast for him. They were a bit too slow. That's the only mistake I thought he made in his first time up at heavyweight. Got too heavy. He didn't need to. I wonder if now knowing who Stipe is, he's going to come down in the weight. But like I said, this fight will be determined very early. Is Stipe slowed down? How does Jones look on the scale? Has Jones lost weight? That's going to be important. But the reality is, we finally get it. This is a fight that people have longed for so much time. Want to see who truly is the baddest man on the planet. We get to find out. Madison Square Garden. Home game for Jones. Another big spot for Miocic in a career that's been filled with them. It's going to be crazy. I cannot wait. And I get to sit octagon side because if anyone understands these two, it's me. I have spent 5 fights with those two guys inside the octagon. So to get to watch them compete on the world's grandest stage, it's going to be tremendous. I can't wait. I'm happy the UFC finally got it done. Jon Jones defends his title against Stipe Miocic, and I'm all in. I believe we learned very early, though, who's going to walk away with the heavyweight championship of the world. Guys, till next time, like, subscribe, tell all your friends that DC's got a YouTube channel and that he's dropping major content. Make sure you tune into UFC 290 tomorrow night, too. It's going to be fantastic. Let's go.